Hey everyone, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And guys, you're with me, Mike Spider Slayer, and everyone, we are getting ready to do another comic book countdown. Guys, I apologize about missing a countdown last week, but I just did not have time with all the work that I had to do. But we're fitting it in this week, and we have only 8 comics to talk about, unfortunately. But next week is going to be a different story. I think I was looking on my pull list, and I have about 18, 19 books. Dude, that's crazy. But that's next week. Let's talk about this week. So this week we have 8 books, and the first book that we're going to be talking about is the number 8 book, and that is Batman and Batgirl. This is issue number 21 from DC Comics, and the last issue of this Batman series, teaming up with Red Hood or whoever it is in the Bat family that he teams up with, kind of, or fights against, whatever you want to say, has been pretty good. This one I thought was just an average tale. It was basically, Batgirl just chasing Batman around, wanting to talk to him, trying to get him to come to his senses. And we've been seeing this going on now for quite a while since Damian's death. And I don't know if it's just me getting tired of the whole thing, or if it was just Batgirl kind of being a little bit whiny and chasing after Bruce wherever he went, and then Bruce just being a baby going, "Leave me alone." So, I don't know. I was kind of disappointed with it. It should have been more of a Batgirl book because it was dealing with her own issues. That's the way I felt it was when I read it. The book art is kind of blocky at best. I wasn't fond of it. It looked stiff and plain in a way. So not really a huge fan. Here was a lot of paneling. Overall, I just wasn't a huge fan of this book. It was okay, but I found it kind of pointless in the end. Really, I did. And again, the art just really bugged me in this issue. I just have a thing like it's starting to get repetitive. You got Bruce going, "Leave me alone. I'm Batman and I want to mourn in Damian's death." Okay, we get it, dude. We got it. Don't take any help from your family. All right. So I found it average at best, and I gave this issue a 3 out of 5. Number 7, Danger Girl Trinity. Again, when I read these books, I don't look for anything in depth or spectacular. As long as the artwork for me in these issues hold up to their standard, that's the key thing. Danger Girl is just a fun series for me. It's one of those series where I keep low expectations and just have fun reading it. It's an action book that's got decent art in it. I love the covers with J. Scott Campbell's artwork. I've said that many, many times. This one has Sonia Savage on it. She has a sister named Cindy Savage. And this book basically goes into where Sonia has to try to escape to meet up with her sister in Egypt, or not her sister, but her co-worker, which is Abby Chase, who's been captured by this prince that's using her to get this crown. The part of the book is actually really cartoonish. There's 3 different artists that do this particular book, and what's it called? My favorite artist on this book is done by John Royal. Again, it has to do with our main characters getting with Abby Chase to trying to rescue her from this false prince of Egypt. Always, the pictures are desirable. They're nice to look at. And the story just has lots of action. It reminds me of this cheap action flick. And that's what Danger Girl reminds me of. But there's something that attracts me to the series each and every time there's a new story arc or story that comes out. So again, fun read. Don't look at anything expectations for this. I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5 as well. Number 6. Vibe, issue number 5. I don't know how many people are reading Vibe at this particular point in time, But I find the book was very entertaining. It had lots of action, and it has Vibe doing battle against the Suicide Squad in this particular issue, and he's making this call to rescue Gypsy in the actual issue. And if you folks are not familiar with Gypsy, it's this girl right here. She was one of the characters that was captured by Amanda Waller. So of course she sends out the heavy hitters to stop Vibe, and it was pretty interesting to see Vibe and Gypsy do this battle, and it was cool to see kind of this relationship developing between Vibe and Gypsy as well, as they share a kiss in the issue. The artwork is nice in this book, and you know, it's a very pleasant surprise of what this book has to offer. Sterling Gates is the writer and Pete Woods is the penciler. At the end of this issue, you see something dramatic, something very important happens, and I will spoil this because I want you guys to try to go out there and pick up Vibe, because it was a nice ending to this issue. You have his brother that was meeting at this rendezvous point, and he was waiting for him for an hour and a half, and he did not show because he was captured by Amanda Waller. And Agent Gunn wanted to defend Vibe for trying to make the right call, and Amanda Waller wants nothing to do with it. And in the end, Vibe is captured in this tube, and he's stripped of his Justice League of America duties, and there will be a replacement for him. So very interesting stuff that takes place in Vibe. And if you guys want a full effect of what this character is, what his personality is about, and the adventures that's in store for him, I suggest that you guys pick this up. So I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. Number 5. Age of Ultron, Book 10. If you guys are interested in this full in-depth review, I did a review on this as well on my channel. You can see everything that happened in the story. But let's just say that in this book, the space-time continuum has been destroyed. And a lot of people are speculating that it's just been destroyed because of Wolverine Sue Storms goes back in time. No, I don't think so. I don't think it's. I just think it was the straw that broke the camel's back in this particular issue that set the space-time continuum to make it be destroyed. You obviously see that in the particular issue. Everything gets all whacked out and crazy. But there's been so much time travel in Marvel now that I think with all of it combined, including Sue Storms and Wolverines and the Ultimate Universe and everything else, I think it just, like I said, it broke the, it was the last straw on the camel's back, and it just created this whole time craziness. And I think that this is a excuse now for Marvel to just do anything and anything that they want, and they don't have to worry about the space-time continuum or the continuity in the book, which for me, I don't think they really cared about anyway, because in Marvel now, everything is all over the place. So now this gives them an excuse. Also, it has an excuse to release these new titles that is coming out, which is Age of Ultron AI, you have The Hunger, you have Angela that's been released. Now she's going into Guardians of the Galaxy. But nevertheless, it was an entertaining book for me. It was cool to see, the Avengers actually fight the Ultron. The Avengers Ultron didn't take place. It took place in a different time. I think it was like Avengers Assembled or something like that. But these Avengers were different Avengers. It wasn't the current Avengers. That's why you have Ms. Marvel's different costume, and Beast involved in evolution was different. So you have to really pay attention to understand Age of Ultron. If you don't, if you fast read it, you're just going to get lost, because this was a very confusing series for a lot of readers out there. So again, it was an average overall event. It was average at best, but I did like this issue. It was like a 4-star issue for me, because it finally gave an ending to this crazy ass story. So that was Age of Ultron, book number 10. Number 4, Invincible, issue number 103. A lot of these books are really good from here on out. They're really, what sets them apart is not that much. But the stories were very, very good, and Invincible was no different. Robert Kirkman is just at his best with this series. This and Walking Dead, for me, are his babies. I love this series. This is, I think his name is Angstrom Levy. I haven't seen him in a long time, but he makes an appearance back on this issue. And you find out in this issue that Atom Eve cannot use her powers or it will destroy her baby because it accelerates her metabolism. And if she uses her powers, it will destroy the fetus because the body will be hungry. You get to see the Viltrumite leader here. He's being captured, and he's making threats to Omni-Man, saying you're going to be a false leader, they're not going to respect you, and they're not going to follow you. So he's like, yeah, I beg to differ. Kind of pointless battle that goes on between this clone guy who clones himself, so I forgot his name. So kind of a pointless battle, but the main thing in this issue is you have Angstrom Levy, who really shows the evil side. It was like you got to see two sides of him in this particular issue. You get to see him being all peaceful in his world. He's like, oh, I just took a run and I just worked out, and then you go to this evil side of him and you see that he uses these like devices, these balls that captures, and he captures Atom Eve here, and you see that, and she can't use her powers, so she's stuck basically being strangled to death, and she's being held hostage. And Invincible comes in here, and the next thing you see is he gets shoved into this different world. And what made this book for me right here was Invincible goes out and he sits there and he wakes up, or he's in this sand and this dust, and here's a spoiler right here, and he wakes up to something that you would see out of Invincible, and you see this right here, and you're like, oh man, what the hell is this? Where is he? And it's like, that's crazy. That's like another form of himself eating himself, and it's just like very Walking Dead-ish, just the artwork and everything else. That's something that you would expect, and I was like, dude, where is this going? Like, he's trapped in this other world. So I really enjoyed this issue as well, and I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5 too. There was just a lot of like little filler stuff in here that I didn't care for really. It was the ending that really made this, and maybe like the story of Atom Eve, how she can't use her powers or her baby will die. So check out Invincible if you guys haven't checked it out. Excuse me. Top 3. Number 3. Ultimate Comics, Spider-Man. This book was really, really well. Ultimate Comics Spider-Man continues to deliver. We're on issue number 24, and this series was fun. It really does a good job on explaining Cloak and Dagger, these guys. And I didn't realize that they were just recently created in the Ultimate Universe literally 3 days ago. The story does a fantastic job at describing their origin and everything that has happened. It goes back from a year ago when Miles Morales was still Spider-Man, and then it goes back to 6 months ago, where actually Cloak and Dagger, and their names are, I think it's Ty and, what was her name? Just give me 1 second, it's right in the beginning. Ty and Tandy. Tandy obviously is the female, and Ty is the male. And they were going to prom together, and it goes like 6 months into the relationship. The artwork in here is really well done. I've adjusted to the art quickly, and it's Dave Marquez who does the artwork that draws Tandy phenomenally. It's just like a plain Jane dress, but she's stunning in the issue. Her hair is done nice. I mean, it may be a little bit, I don't know, weird of me to go into detail about that female character, but she's so genuine looking, and that's what I liked about the artwork in here. But again, it does a great job describing Cloak and Dagger. Doesn't really go too much into the character, to the villain, which is Bombshell. Kind of reminded me of a Gambit style. But you see again that Cloak and Dagger are created, and they really know what's going on. They're just trying to figure out everything that's happening. And then the next thing I liked in this issue was the paneling here. Paneling was done really well, where you see Dagger just throwing her daggers, and it goes into this crazy circleless paneling, which was really nice. And again, the artwork and the facial expressions between Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy when they're talking, and Gwen is sitting there talking to Miles about get back into your Spider-Man costume, come back, because it's been a year since he's been Spider-Man. And she basically slaps him in the face to say, hey, get to it. And he just walks away. But the facial expressions in this book is just, it captures you, and I love that about this book. So by the time we're all done, by the time the book ends, we get to see Miles Morales basically, struggling with himself if he should be Spider-Man or if he shouldn't be Spider-Man. And I loved it. It was a great issue. I'm giving this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I'm not a huge fan of Cloak and Dagger, but they're doing a good job of introducing them into the Ultimate Universe and giving them an origin story, so you're quickly not, lost about these characters. And I find out that I want to learn a little bit more about them. So I'm giving this one, again, a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Nice read. Number 2, Superior Spider-Man, issue number 12. I like this. I like this series. Not only does it, not because it just has to do with Spider Slayer, and my name is on there. Alistar Smythe is one of those heroes that, or villains, that's not really like a main villain, but he shines in this particular story arc. He's pulled out all the stops. He's pulled out all the tricks. When it comes to Otto Octavius and Alistar Smythe, there are two brilliant minds facing each other, and who's going to win at the end, we're not sure. But in this issue, we get to see that it focuses on J. Jonah Jameson and his revenge towards Alistar Smythe because he killed his wife. And the other thing about Alistar Smythe and the J. Jonah, or Alistar Smythe, yeah, and J. Jonah, is their history goes way back before Alistar Smythe. It goes back to the original Spider Slayer when J. Jonah wanted Spider-Man dead, and he basically hires Alistar Smythe's father to do the job, and he created Spider Slayer. So their history goes back long, long ways. And we can see that in this issue that J. Jonah just wants nothing to do with it. He wants to take matters in his own hands, and he basically wants to kill Spider Slayer. The art is okay. This artist is not my favorite out of the 3 that are in Amazing Spider-Man, but it is still solid, and it does shine at times. I do love the villains. It reminds me of these classic Spider-Man tales of the 90s. You got Scorpion, Boomerang, and Vulture, and they're all souped up. And the one thing that I loved about this particular issue was it had a Star Wars reference where Superior comes up on a hologram, and he's telling the hostages what to do. I thought that was great, and it did a Star Wars reference in there, which was really funny. But this was a solid issue. I really, really enjoyed it tremendously. Here we get to see some cool battle scenes. And yes, I am a Spider-Man fan, so I always, I guess I just naturally draw to it. Here we get the Lizard that actually comes back, and he's escaping prison, and somehow I don't know if he's going to team up with Spider-Man or he's going to figure out that Doc Ock is Spider-Man, but he's going to play a major role later on. And at the end of this issue, we get to see that Spider-Man has to take care of Alistar Smythe. So interesting stuff here. And I enjoyed it. I'm giving it 4.5 out of 5 as well. Solid issue. People are very analytical when it comes to Superior Spider-Man. They say he's not Peter, he's not this, he's not that. I get it. But you can't compare him to Peter. He's a different personality. He's going to do things his way, and it's going to be different. He's just wearing the costume, okay? People think he's Spider-Man. He's just not telling people that he's Dr. Octopus. And he's just changed, and you can see that in the way he does things. He's a much more efficient Spider-Man. He's smarter and intellectually better in many ways. His spider bots, he may not handle things the way he should, but he's going to do things that he's used to doing because he was a villain. But I'm enjoying it. So again, I give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. And the number 1 comic book of the week is Green Lantern and the New Guardians, issue number 21. I'll be the first one to say I thought this comic was going to suck. And this proves that you can't judge a book by its cover. The cover art in this book I thought was horrible when I saw it. I'm like, this is an ugly looking book. I thought the interior art was going to be just like this. Like, look at Kyle Rayner here. He looks like a middle-aged fat man or something. Like, he drank too much beer. He hasn't worked out in a while. And I was like, come on, please don't be crappy art. But as soon as I opened up the book, I was like, wow, this book looks pretty cool. And here you get to see some visual here with Hal Jordan and Kyle Rayner. And you get to see space sharks in the book. And you also get to see, what else do you get to see in here? This crazy guy right here, he's called, I guess, the Anomaly. And so I was very pleasantly surprised, and that's why this book gets the #1 rating for me. The book is written by Justin Jordan, and the artwork is done by Brad Walker. The art is a little sketchy, but I dealt with it. It's not bad. What this story entails is it kind of coincides again with Green Lantern number 21, where it has the Guardians actually leaving Oa, and they want Kyle to go with him. And at first he's like, no. He's like, I am not doing this. He's like, I am tired of fighting. I'm tired of being their babysitter. I don't want to do this. And basically, Hal Jordan convinces Kyle, while battling space sharks, to do this, because he's the one that does need to watch them in case something goes wrong. He can stop them in their tracks. Just because he doesn't want, well, Hal Jordan doesn't want the Guardians to, mess up the universe again. So Kyle's like, all right, that's fine. I'm going to go. I'll watch them. That's basically what happens in a nutshell. You also get to see more relation stuff with Carol Ferris and Kyle Rayner here discussing about her and Hal. And I don't know, but could something happen between Kyle and Carol? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there for you guys to make this comment, because it's like Carol seems like she's tired of Hal Jordan. But when you've seen Kyle and Carol together, talking, and you see like they kind of have this relationship. I don't know. They could be just good friends, but could it be a betrayal between the two in the future? I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. But he tells Carol that he has to go out into the universe and help the Guardians, and they go out against this anomaly, and you can see that right here. And it's weird. It's this weird bubble thing, and the Guardians go out there, and it's like the edge of the universe. And the next thing you see is all these ships, they disappear, and you get this crazy creature by the name of X-Star who's guarding the anomaly, and he's saying, you can't go forward, and he starts doing this battle with his big-ass galactic sword. He starts fighting Kyle, and Kyle thinks he's bad, and he starts using his powers. Then all of a sudden you get this thing is starting to blow up, and it's starting to hatch. And we find out that it's all Kyle's fault while this is happening, because he can't use his powers. And the next thing you see is you get this crazy-ass, big, like, galactic guy. Like, he looks like Galactus. He doesn't look like him, but you would compare him to in the Marvel Universe, because he's this huge thing. And it was just like, oh my god. And I didn't expect this out of this issue. Not like this. And what will happen in the future for Kyle and in the Guardians will be interesting. And where does this new character fit in? Is he the main villain of this Green Lantern universe now? Where are all these stories going to go? Because in the past Green Lantern universe with Jeff Johns' run, Jeff Johns, featured on the light. He featured on the red, the Spectre. He featured the red, the blue, the black. He featured on the spectrum of lights and all the different cores and everything else. And that's why I think we all were intrigued by Green Lantern series. Now, in the series, all that's done. We've got all our core. We featured on all the spectrum of light and all that stuff. So now it really is going to be interesting to see where does Green Lantern and all their tales go from here on out. So I liked it. I liked the direction it was going. How they battle this guy, I don't know. But I think the next issue is actually called The Relic. So interesting stuff. I've really enjoyed it, and that's why this gets my #1 pick of the week, because I didn't expect it to be this good. I didn't know what I was expecting, but I quite enjoyed it. And so if you guys decided to put down Green Lantern and New Guardians, pick it up. I think it's a solid issue, and I think it might be better than it was in the past. So yeah, this gets not a perfect 5 for me. It's still 4.5 out of 5. No 5-star books this week, but all the books were pretty solid. So guys, that is the countdown for the week. I hope you enjoyed. Tell me what your #1 book was of the week, and tell me what your worst book of the week was. And tell me the thoughts of Age of Ultron and what you guys thought of it and where it goes from here on out with the Marvel Universe. So guys, as always, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. And guys, thank you for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0. Guys, I'll see you real soon.